Yes, guys, something a bit different this evening, this afternoon, this morning, wherever you're watching this. I thought it would be a good idea to go through the Players' Championship finals that will be taking place over the weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Looking at the preview, looking at potential shock, who I think is going to win the tournament, prize money, all of that stuff in this sort of preview. So I've got the Players' Championship finals on my screen at the moment. We're going to look at the prize money first. The winner, of the Players' Championship finals will receive £100,000 in prize money. Second place will get 50 grand. The two semi-finalists will get 25 grand. The four quarter-finalists will get 15 grand. The 8 players losing in the third round will get £10,000. If you lose in the second round, you get 5 grand. And just for turning up in the tournament, you get 2.5 grand. So, it's definitely not a money spinner, of course, because it's not that much money. But, I mean, I'm saying that much money all in comparison to the World Championship, which, of course, if you win that is £500,000, which is indeed the total prize money of the Players' Championship for the entire tournament, where if you win the Players' Championship, you effectively get all of this money, which is just mental saying that. So qualification then, the top 64 on the Pro Tour order of merit. There is the qualification. Obviously, 1 plays 64, 2 plays 63. But as you can see, Jamie Hughes withdrew from the tournament, which means 65th place on the Pro Tour order of merit. Pro Tour order of merit. Jelle Klaassen gets in. And will play Jose de Souza. No, sorry. He won't play Jose de Souza. He won. I'm reading a comment from Luke. He will play Vincent van der Voort, I think, as it doesn't go in the ranking. It goes in who withdraws. So Jamie Hughes withdrew. His game is against Vincent van der Voort, which means Jelle Klaassen will then play Vincent van der Voort. So first of all, we're going to have a look at section 1 and we're going to break it down. And then I'm going to ask you to give me your 4 semi-finalists and your final and who you think is going to win the tournament. So anyway, let's go into it then. The first round, section 1. First seed Jose de Souza takes on 64th seed Devin Peterson. Although Devin has a good TV game and I think he could beat Jose in this one, I'm going to have to put Jose through into the second round, and I think he will play Merv. Look, Mervyn King has had a very good record on ITV. I know that's not really any relevant. He's done decent in the UK Open. He's done decent in the Masters, and of course reached the Players' Championship finals last year, losing to Michael Van Gerwen in the last leg decided. Darius again, his TV game is improving. I think his in my opinion, I think Darius's TV game is getting better than his floor game. He's okay on the floor, but I think this is going to be a cracker between Merv King and Darius. They're seeded 32 and 33 for a reason. I'm going to put Merv through. This one, Chris Dobey, William O'Connor. Again, it's one of those where Chris Dobey's in fantastic form. Not so good in the Slam, but then again, he wasn't expected to be at the Grand Slam, so you can't really knock him for that. William O'Connor, another very good player on TV. I'm going to put Chris Dobey through in this one. Christoph Ratajski, Ron Munelkamp. I don't want to be disrespectful to any player during this preview / prediction show, but look, I don't think Ratajski gets any problems getting past Munelkamp. I think this is a 6-1, 6-2 sort of game. I think it's relatively comfortable, so I'm going to put Ratajski through. Gerwyn Price, look, it's always hard to say the favorite is going to go through, as we've seen a lot of shocks, but look, I think Gazzy gets through that with relative ease. Martin Schindler, Ian White is actually a decent game. I hope this is on TV. I haven't or on the main stage. I can't remember what the main stage / stage 2 format is. I have got it written behind me, and I'm going to need that for tomorrow's stream, but I'm going to put Schindler through in this one. Brendan Dolan, Chaz Barstow. I think this reminds me of the Gazzy game and the Ratajski game. Chaz Barstow was a decent play. He's done well on the Pro Tour this year, but I put Brendan through there. And then Dave Chisnall I put through there. So my second round lineup from this section will be Jose de Souza versus Mervyn King. I've got Chris Dobie against Christoph Ratajski, Gerwin Price against Martin Schindler, Brendan Nolan, Dave Chisnell. And then I think de Souza beats King. I think de Souza beats King. I think Ratajski beats Dobie. I think Gezi beats Schindler. And I think I would like to say Chizzy beats Dolan. But I think Dolan has had such a good year this year that you can't back against you can't back against Brendan Dolan. I'm going to put Chizzy through. So, and then in the third round, I've gone for. I'm going to say Ratajski to beat de Souza. Ratajski to beat de Souza. Gezi to beat Chisnell. And then I think Gezi gets into the quarterfinal. So the first quarterfinalist for me is Gerwin Price. First semi-final, is Gerwin Price. Let me say that again. Gerwin Price is my first semi-final, where he will play in the semi-final. I tell you what, this is a cracking section. I'm not going to lie to you. This is a cracking section. I think Michael Smith beats William Borland. I think Alan Suter, Daryl Gurney. I'm going to say Suter beats Gurney. I'll say Rids beats Sulovic. Wade beats Ricky Evans. Ryan Searle beats Whitlock. Joyce beats Woodhouse. Cross beats Watamina. And this is an interesting one. Aspinall Smith. Look, I would love to see Jeff Smith go on a decent run. I think he would really, really deserve a decent run at this tournament. I'm going to go Aspinall to go through. I am going to put Aspinall through. So the second round, I've gone Michael Smith versus Alan Suter. In this game here, I've gone Callan Rids against James Wade, Ryan Searle against Ryan Joyce, and Rob Cross against Aspinall. So this game, to get into the third round of this section, I'm going to go Michael Smith beats Suter. And Wade beats Rids. So Michael Smith versus Wade here. I think Ryan Searle beats Joyce quite comfortably as well. And I think Cross beats Aspinall. I think Cross beats Aspinall. So third round one, you've got Michael Smith against James Wade. And this third round, you've got Ryan Searle against Rob Cross. I think Michael Smith beats Wade. And I think Ryan Searle beats Rob Cross. So I'm going Michael Smith versus Ryan Searle in the quarterfinals, where Ryan Searle gets through. I'm backing Ryan Searle to beat Michael Smith in quarterfinal 2. So far it is semi-final 1, Gerwin Price up against Ryan Searle. Big backing there. Right, section 3. This is basically the Dutch contingency. So the first game, Peter Wright, Keane, Barry. I've got Peter Wright to get through this. Adrian Lewis, Kim Huybrechts. Look, I think Adrian Lewis, Kim Huybrechts could be a toss of a coin. I can't predict that. Do you know what? Because I love AD Lewis, I'm going to put Lewis through. Damon Hatter beats Steve Lennon. I think Gabriel Clemens beats Steve Beaton. Michael Van Gerwen beats Kevin Doherty. I think Barney beats Kyvenhoven. I think Van Duivenbode beats Ryan Meikle. Now, this one is tricky. Stephen Bunting, Gary Anderson. Stephen Bunting has had a fantastic year. From the World semi-final all the way through. Stephen Bunting has had a very, very good year on tour. But it's Gary Anderson. I think it goes 6-5. I think it's a last leg decider. I'm putting Gando through. I'm putting Gary Anderson through. So second round will be Peter Wright against Adrian Lewis. What a game that'll be. Damon Heta, Gabriel Clemens, Michael Van Geuren against Raymond van Barneveld. Quality game. Dirk van Dijvenbode against Gary Anderson. So my third round prediction. Peter Wright beats AD Lewis. Damon Heta beats Gabriel Clemens. So Peter Wright against Damon Heta. Raymond van Barneveld beats Michael Van Geuren. Shock, I know. I've got Barney to knock out Van Geuren. And Gary Anderson beats Van Dijvenbode. So the third round game, will be the quarterfinal game actually, won't it? Will be Peter Wright against Gary Anderson or Barney. I'm going to say Gary Anderson. A quarter-final between Peter Wright and Gary Anderson. Peter Wright gets through. So semi-final 3 is Peter Wright for me. And then the last section of the draw. Johnny Clayton easily gets past Alan Tabern in my eyes. This one's a difficult one to predict. Scott Mitchell against Martijn Kleermaker. I'm going to put Kleermaker through in this one. Ross Smith beats Rusty Jake. I think Rusty Jake will push Ross Smith, but I think Ross Smith has the better game to get past him. Luke Humphries beats Jason Heaver. Joe Cullen beats Andy Bolton. This is a tough one. Van der Voort against Klassen. Oh, God. Klassen's A game is fantastic. Klassen's A game is fantastic. I'm going to put Van der Voort through. I think Dimitri beats Madars Razma, and I think Danny Noppert beats Raby John. So in the next round, we'll have Johnny Clayton against Martijn Kleermaker, Ross Smith, Luke Humphries, Joe Cullen, Vincent Van der Voort, Dimitri Vandenberg, Danny Noppert, which means Clayton beats Ross Smith. No. I think Clayton beats Kleermaker. Humphries beats Ross Smith. Cullen beats Van der Voort. And Dimitri beats Danny Noppert. Which the 2 third-round games will then be Clayton against Humphries. Cullen against Vandenberg. I'll put Clayton and Joe Cullen through into the quarterfinal. And Clayton wins. So my 4 semi-finalists for the tournament are Gezi Price will play Ryan Searle in semi-final 1. So Price against Searle in semi-final 1. Semi-final 2 will be Peter Wright against Johnny Clayton. So that will be Price versus Searle, Wright versus Clayton for a place in the final. I think, look, I really like Ryan Searle. I think Gezi Price beats Searle. Gezi Price beats Ryan Searle. And, look, I don't want to be boring and put Clayton through. But then again, I don't know. If we look over here, over 21 legs, Clayton against Peter Wright, I'm not too sure, I'm not too sure. I could see, we're talking over 21 legs now, so I'm gonna ask you in the chat something in a minute. So anyway, semi-final 1, Gerwin Price, Ryan Searle, Gezi into the final. Semi-final 2, Peter Wright versus Johnny Clayton, Wright into the final. So we're going to have a Gerwin Price, Peter Wright rematch final in the Players' Championship finals. And I'm going to go Gezi 11-6. That is my prediction. Now, I want to hear your predictions. Get in the prediction, or get in the chat below with your predictions for who you think will be in the semi-finals. So there's section 1. Obviously, you have to pick one semi-finalist from there. So I'll leave that on screen for a moment. Pick one semi-finalist from there. Pause if you need to. Pick the second semi-finalist from here. Keep it on screen a little bit. Pick the third semi-finalist from here. And pick the fourth semi-finalist from there. So give me your semi-final and final predictions. My semi-final predictions are Price versus Searle, Wright versus Clayton, and Gezi to beat Wright in the final. I'll see some of your comments, seeing if some of your comments, because I haven't seen any of them. Watching on the PlayStation, so can't type, but legend Andrew. 10 years ago, AD, yeah, mental. Anyone back in Michael Smith? I mean, if you look at Michael Smith's potential run, his potential run is William Borland in round 1, and then he's got Gurney or Suter in round 2, which is a tough game. And then he's got either Rids, Sulovic, Wade, or Evans in the 3rd round. And then he's got one of Searle, Whitlock, Joyce, Woodhouse, Cross, Watamina, Aspinall, or Smith in the quarterfinal. So it's a tough run for Michael Smith. I mean, if he was to win it, then fair play. I don't think he goes all the way for me. I think, what did I say? I think Smith loses to Searle in the quarterfinals. That's what I reckon. Smith loses to Searle in the quarterfinals. I'm not bad, Daniel. Hope you're well. What time is it tomorrow? The program starts tomorrow at 12:45, Andrew. Hello, Brian. Hope you're well. Luke says, would love to see Willie. That is Willie O'Connor. Oh, he's actually said it, Willie O'Connor, to have a run. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to you. Cross versus MVG or Vandenberg. Is that in the final? Or is that... Let me have a look. So I'm presuming... Yeah, that's in the final. Cross to beat... So you think Cross is going to get to the final from this. And then you think either MVG or Dimitri to get through. Malcolm says Gezi to beat Peter in the final. Look, I think Gezi gets to the final, whether he wins it or not. I mean, look at his run, right? I don't want to be disrespectful because it's like a preview show. I can talk in depth, and if you want to have a look at certain players' runs or something like that, or whatever you want to put in the chat, just put it in there, and I can have a look. We've still got a few to talk about. We've still got to talk about a potential big shock or the biggest potential shock in the tournament, and we're still going to debate whether there'll be a 9 data, and if so, who from. Right, so let's get into it. So look at Gezi's run. So Gezi has Jason Lowe in round 1. He then has the winner of Martin Schindler, Ian White in round 2. He then has Dolan, potentially Dolan or Chisnell in the 3rd round. And then in the quarterfinals, he's the hardest opponent he's going to have is D'Souza. I think Gezi's run is very kind to him. I don't think there's a run, in my opinion, from my first glance at looking at it, I don't think there's a run in the tournament as easy as Gerwyn Price. If we look at Peter Wright, he's got Keane Barry, tough opponent, much better player than Ryan Lowe. Is it Ryan Lowe or Jason? Jason Lowe, sorry. Jason Lowe, not Ryan Lowe. So he's got Keane Barry, who is better than Ryan Lowe in Jason Lowe. I keep saying Ryan. What is my obsession with Ryan Lowe? Who is Ryan Lowe? Jason Lowe. AD Lewis or Hybrex are better than Schindler or White. And then Damon Heta or Gabriel Clemens, in my opinion, at the moment on form, are harder, than Dolan or Chisnell. So I think Gezi has a favourable draw. I think Gezi will be looking at that draw and thinking, if I don't get to the quarters, at least, because whether players do this, I have no idea if players do this. They look at the draw and think, if I don't get to a last 16, if I don't get to a quarters, semi-final, then I think that's a bad tournament. But I think that run is kind of, tidy. The hardest run is in this section here, I think. We look at this section here, right? So we got Michael van Gerwen against, look how many Dutch players there are, but, forget the country. Michael van Gerwen against Kevin Doert. I think, yes, he does get through that quite convincingly, van Gerwen. Then he's got a second-round match against Barney or Kuyvenhoven. If he then beats Barney or Kuyvenhoven, he's then got a game against Van Duijvenbode, Ryan Meikle, Bunting, or Gary Anderson. Now, that is tough. That is really tough. That is probably, in my opinion, we're gonna, relook at the draw and see what is potentially harder. But I think that's a massive, massive part of the draw. I mean, you've got world champ in there, Van Gerwen. You've got world champ in Barney. You've got world champ in Bunting. You've got world champ in Gary Anderson. Van Duijvenbode has been a revelation on the tour. Ryan Meikle is a good up-and-coming player. So there's a lot of talent, and Kuyvenhoven's done decent on the TV. Took Michael van Gerwen to a 6-5 game as well. So for me, until we go more in depth, I think that is the toughest part of the draw. We're going to have a look at different parts of the draw in a minute. But that is a tough part of the draw. Right, let's have a look at some other parts of the draw that I think could be testing. I think this is a tough part of the draw as well. But here, this is another one that anyone can get out of. You've got Ryan Searle, Simon Whitlock, two very good players. You've got Ryan Joyce, Luke Woodhouse, two decent players. Rob Cross, I think, is in the form of his life at the moment. Jermaine Wattimena is always a mainstay on the sort of on the Pro Tour and in most major events. And then you've got Nathan Aspinall and Jeff Smith, who's a decent player as well. Just won the Continental Cup, I think it was. So that's another tough. I mean, whoever comes out of this is in the quarterfinals, aren't they? So that's another tough part. I think the easiest part has got to be this one for me. Like, no disrespect to any of these players, but for me, this is the easiest part of the draw. You've got Jason Lowe, which Martin Schindler or Ian White will fancy Jason Lowe. I think if Jason Lowe does beat Gerwyn Price, I think Schindler or Ian White will definitely fancy themselves against Jason Lowe, I think. Brendan Dolan, yeah, he's been good this season. Chisnell has, I mean, you look at the rankings. This is on the tour, by the way. This is on the Pro Tour. So 24th seed on the tour, which shows he's not been in good form, Chisnell, where the likes of Dolan has. Right, I asked you not to spam, so I am going to have to time you out for a little bit, mate, because I don't want you to spam comments in the spam stuff in the chat. Is there anything you guys want to look at? Because obviously we will go on to the main part, well, the second part of the show, which is any potential shocks or whether there'll be a 9 data. But let me know in the chat if there's any sort of main parts of the draw you want to look at. Is there any players' routes that you want to look at? Because I think I've covered the main players. We've seen Jose's potential route. We've seen Gezzy's. We've looked at Michael Smith's. We looked at Michael van Gerwen's, Peter Wright. So if there is any, like, sort of, before we go on to the next part of the show, if there's anything you want to look at in specific, then let me know, because it's so hard to go through everything. How many 180s? No. We're not gonna discuss that. I mean, like, anything from the draw. Is there any certain part of the draw you want me to look at? Any player that you think is a dark horse? Because you might look at their route to the final, and then you're like, oh yeah, the draw to the or the route to the final is not favourable. I don't see them going far. Because to be honest, I thought I would have liked Martin Schindler to have a little decent run, and then I seen he has Gezi Price in round 2. It's like, all right, maybe not. Maybe he doesn't have a decent chance of a decent run in this tournament, but I mean, there's so many players. There's Michael Smith. Yeah, I've seen Michael Smith's run. I've already shown that. It's tough. It is tough. I mean, William Borland. See, I think he gets past Borland, but then it's this part of the draw for Michael Smith for me, which I don't think he's gonna go all the way. He's got Gurney or Suter, solid game. Then he's got Rids, Sulevic, Wade, or Ricky Evans. Actually, talking about routes to a quarter-final, look at that for a bloody route to the quarter-final. You've got Daryl Gurney, major champion. Michael Smith, we won't say about him in majors. Alan Suter, most improved player, or most one of the highest rated players on the tour from winning their tour card. Callum Rids, fantastic this year. Sulevic regaining form. James Wade is James Wade. And Ricky Evans, a mainstay on the tour for the last, 5-10 years, to be honest. That is a solid part of the draw, to be truthfully honest. I would not like to be in that part of the draw. I would not like to be William Borland. If you're William Borland, no disrespect to Borland, you've got to play Michael Smith in round 1. Then you've got the potential of Daryl Gurney or Alan Suter, which, yeah, no thank you. And then you've got Rid, Sulevic, Wade, or Ricky Evans. I mean, bloody hell. I don't like that for a bloody route to the quarters. Rob Cross, I mean, look, my favourite is obviously Gezi. I think you can't look past Gezi in the route that he's got to the final. I've said this so much in this stream, and we've only been live for under half an hour, but he's got this game against Jason Lowe, which for Gezi, if he can get past this with relative ease without dropping as like that many legs, like a 6-1, 6-2 sort of victory, even 6-0 to be fair, if he can get through that quickly, then he's got Martin Schindler, Ian White. He's already beat Martin Schindler and Ian White this season. Yes, he lost to Schindler in the last time they played in the Slam. And then he's got Dolan. Realistically, look, I don't want to say anyone is crap, but realistically, he's got Dolan or Chizzy in the next round, in the third round, which I just don't see Gezi losing a game. The thing is, I don't even see him losing to D'Souza or King or Ratajski or Dobie. Whoever comes out of this section, D'Souza, Peterson, King, Labanauskas, Dobie, O'Connor, Ratajski, Mullenkamp, I don't see him losing to any of those either. Never mind the people in his section of the draw. So for me, it's a cert for Gerwyn Price, an absolute cert. Right, get your predictions in, guys, for the semi-finals and final lineup. And then we'll go into some potential shocks. Because looking at the draw and, going through the draw as we did first time around with less detail and then pinpointing different parts of the draw, there's a lot of potential shocks that could happen in the first round, even the second. But the first round draw, anyone in the top 64 or this 64 could easily beat one or the other. And it's crazy, the quality and depth in the PDC at the moment. Right, we're going to go into that now. If we get comments on your predictions, I will answer them in a minute. Right, we'll go for it section by section. So the first shock potentially here, I think all of these, the only one, look, is if Devon beats Jose. I think Devon has been really poor this year, as you can see by 64 seeding. He's not managed to pick up form. I think it's his elbow or his wrist have been hurting quite a lot. So I think the only shock there that could happen, because Devon could easily beat Jose. I'll put Devon as the shock there for D'Souza. I don't think anyone else loses that is expected to win. Same here. Maybe Richie Edhouse beats Chisnell. I think Price beats Lowe. I think even if White beats Schindler, it's not a shock, even though he's 15 seedings lower than Martin Schindler in this. Brendan Dolan, I think Brendan Dolan gets past Chaz Barstow. That's the only one I could say is Chizzy losing to Richie Eddowes. But again, it would be a big shock. This side of the draw, look, you've got to look at Borland beating Smith. I think if that happens, that is a shock. William Borland knocking out Michael Smith, that will be a shock. If Gurney loses to Suter, not really a shock. I think Suter potentially could actually be favourite for that game, which is mental, considering his difference in ranking. Sulovic beating Rids won't be a shock, the same as Evans beating James Wade. However, Whitlock beats Ryan Searle, that'll be a shock for me, because ultimately, I just don't see where Whitlock's game is at the moment. And Ryan Searle is 5th seed, and in my opinion, he's up there in the top 8 this year, which is mental. Ryan Searle, like, realistically, shouldn't be up in that top 8, and he is. That's not a shock. I'll tell you what, if Watamina beats Cross, that is a shock. That will be a shock if Jermaine Watamina beats Rob Cross. Rob Cross has been fantastic recently. Really looks like the Rob Cross that won the match play and won the Worlds. Not saying he is that Rob Cross, because look, when he won the Worlds, he was absolutely phenomenal during that fortnight or so. And Jeff Smith beating Aspinall, not really a shock. The Asp hasn't played a lot of darts recently. Wasn't at the Grand Slam. Missed out on that due to a qualifier, which was unfortunate. Would have liked to have got in there, not just for the prize money and for potential ranking moves, but just to play darts, because he hasn't played darts for quite a while against a quite fresh Jeff Smith. So again, that could probably be a shock if that happens. In this, I think Keith Barry beats Peter Wright. That will be a shock. I think Peter Wright, I don't know what to think about Peter Wright. I think his A game is not too far away within reach, but I think his real crap game is not far away either. So he's sort of in the middle, Peter Wright. His A game's up the air and his crap game is down there. He's just floating around, basically. AD Lewis, Kim Ibrex, again, not a shock. Whoever wins that, both really shouldn't be in this position. They both should be in the top 16 in the world, in my opinion. 2 players that just fell down the rankings. Damon Heta loses to Steve Lennon. That's a shock if you ask me. Damon Heta's looked really good this year. A seed for most of the Pro Tours this year. And he's got to a lot of board finals, even reached a couple of finals, Damon Heta. So that would be a massive shock in my opinion. Gabriel Clemens, Steve Beaton, again, not really beaten. Although Clemens has looked really good at times, I think Steve Beaton has got the game to beat Clemens not 9 times, but like 6 or 7 times out of 10. So not really a shock. Look to the bottom half of this section. I think the only shock, and I will say this with open mind, the only shock out of this section is if Doherty beats Van Gerwen. For me, that's the only shock, because if Kuyvenhoven beats Barney, not a shock. If Meikle beats Van Duijvenbode, not a shock. Over 11 legs, that is definitely possible that Meikle beats Van Duijvenbode. And I mean, whoever wins this, I mean, you can't say it's a shock either way if Bunting wins or if Gary Anderson wins. So the only one there I'd go with is Kevin Doherty. So I will wrap these up at the end as the one that I think will happen. So Alan Tabern, that would be probably the shock of the tournament if Alan Tabern beats Johnny Clayton. Not a shock here. I think Rusty, if he beats Ross Smith, I don't think that'll be a shock, because I think Rusty played really well at the Slam, in the game against Brooks, Mervyn King, and against Clayton. So I don't think that's a shock. Jason Heaver beating Humphreys, again, is not a shock. I think Jason Heaver's played really well on the tour this year. Humphreys starting to, look, his A game is there, Luke Humphreys, but we've seen it in his game that he can drop off and he can tail off. So I don't know what to think of that yet. And then the bottom section, Fandy Bolton beats Cullen. That is a shock. I wouldn't say this is a shock if it goes either way. Again, Madaz Razma has played really well. Won the, what was it? I can't remember what Tory won to get his place. Nordic, I think, to get his place in the Worlds. Again, I mean, Dimmy, it's difficult with Dimmy. I think Dimmy is a quality player on his day, but best of 11 legs, Rasmus, again, could beat him 6 or 7 times out of 10. And then I don't think that'll be a shock there. So the shock that I think is most likely to happen, I'm going to put top 3. My top 3 potential shocks. Let me go through the thing again. So, I just want to be clever with this. I don't want to rush this. I don't want to make a rash decision. So, right, I've got my top 3 shocks. So my third shock, the one that I think could happen, but out of the 3 options, I don't think it will, is Devon beating D'Souza. I think that is shock 3. Devon to knock out Jose. Look, it could happen, but ultimately, I think D'Souza will have enough. But that is my third shock. My second shock is Richie Edhouse beating Dave Chisnell again. Dave Chisnell has the game to absolutely annihilate Richie Edhouse, but Richie Edhouse has looked good on the tour this year. Couple of scalps that he's taken, and I think Richie could get the better of Dave Chisnell. And then the third shock is right down the bottom of it, and it is Rusty Jake potentially beating Ross Smith. So and this is the one that I think is most likely to happen. Rusty Jake, so good in the slam, so good on tour all year, to get in the top 64, to be at Butlins. What a story for Rusty Jake. Hasn't even got a tour card, and he's out here in the top 64 on the Pro Tour. So those are my 3 shocks. Now is the question, will we get a 9 data at the PDC Players Championship Finals? Look, I say this, and I will repeat it for every single tournament I cover. The field at the moment for the PDC is so stacked. It is unbelievable. The amount of players that are capable of beating each other is just phenomenal. That is why for every tournament I talk about, I always say, I'm not sure whether it will happen, the 9 data, but it has the ability and the opportunity to, with the quality in the field. You look at that, 64th place William Borland, 64th place Devin Peterson, could easily hit the 9 data against Jose D'Souza. And that is the quality. 64th seed could easily beat the 1st seed. And it's such a good leveler with everyone on tour at the moment. Look, the ultimate question is there going to be a 9 data hit? I'm going to say no. I don't think there will be a 9 data hit. Look, if there is, there is. But, I think there's going to be no 9 data in this tournament. We could have it, we could have it by 2 o'clock tomorrow, and then I'm wrong within 2 hours of play, or an hour of play, however long, when play starts, basically. So look, I'm going to say no. Let me get some bloody light in here. I'm going to say no, there won't be a 9 data hit, but I'm not going to sway myself to the side that a 9 data can't be hit, because it can. And I think there's quality players in this tournament to hit the 9 data. But anyway, guys, that is where we're going to wrap up today's stream. It wasn't going to be a long stream because I've got about 6 hours of streaming tomorrow. So looking forward to that. If you haven't watched this live and you're watching this on playback, please make sure to get in the comments and tell me who you think is going to get to the semi-finals, win the Players' Championship, who you think could be a shock, whether you think there'll be a 9 data hit. All of that in your predictions in the comment section below. We'll be live tomorrow from 10 to 1 for the Players' Championship watch-along day 1 afternoon session, where the Players' Championship finals will get underway. So like I say, massive thanks to everyone joining us for today's stream. Does mean a lot. And yeah, your support is fantastic. Hopefully, the support over the over the weekend should be fantastic. Quick question. from Brian Star. He says, when's the game? The game start tomorrow. Action starts. I'll probably say 1 p.m. tomorrow. So yeah, hopefully you'll join me tomorrow and all weekend. I'm going to be live Friday afternoon, Friday evening, Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening. You can see where that was going. So I will be live all throughout the weekend for the watch long for the Players Championship finals in Butlins. So hopefully I see you tomorrow at 10 to 1 for the action. And hopefully, if you haven't already, please make sure to smash that like button, smash the subscribe button. We're hoping to hit 2K by the end of the World Championship. Thank you for joining me for this preview show. And I'll hopefully see a lot of you tomorrow for the Players Championship finals. See you and enjoy the darts tomorrow.